We are getting ready for coffee with Casper. We're waiting for the video to go hot. Okay, let me work on this a second, guys. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. There we are. The video is hot. We're working. Good morning. If you're in Norway or Europe, good evening. It's wonderful to have so many people from all over the planet joining us with Coffee with Casper. We are live and, of course, always available 24/7 on YouTube and on Facebook. And you Google Harry Morgan Moses or Google Coffee with Casper, or go to newthought.com and click on social media. Lots of different ways for us to find us. Good morning from Idaho. Good morning. Nice and early. Aloha from Hawaii. Good morning from Texas. How exciting. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yay. Nice to see you all this morning. Nice to be with you. What a week we're going to be chatting about, eh? 2 minutes to go. We'll get the puppy dog back up here. He's behind me somewhere. As you know, he was already here. Mountain is laying down over there. You can see a little change of weather here in Southern California. Probably won't last. The heat's coming back. But it's cooled off 20 degrees in the last day. So we're happy. Good morning from North Carolina. Good morning, good morning. Good morning from Tucson. All right, we're gathering from all over this morning. Aren't you amazing light workers, you? Yay. Yay, yay, yay. Got about a minute to go. We'll gong ourselves in. We'll give ourselves this 20 minutes to be together. There we go. All right. Good morning from Eugene, Oregon. The beaches in North Carolina. I saw some pretty pictures of you on the beach in North Carolina. Beautiful out there. Yay. All righty, here we go. 8:29. We're going to gong ourselves in here. Good morning from Hollywood. The Idaho gang. Good morning, good morning. Actually, the Idaho beautiful couple. Let's see. Good morning. Mary, I don't know where you are, but good morning to you. Nice to see you. All righty, here it is. There's gong time. Casper, come on up and say hi. Come on up one more time. Say hi. We got the coffee. We got the Casper. We got each other. And we're bringing light into the world. Oh, yes, there's a happy boy. That's a happy boy. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's get ready. Let's everybody take a deep breath in. Maybe let out the sound ah. Ah. Now this next breath, let the breath go into your system and then rise up into your heart center. And then rise up into your heart center and relax. We're just giving ourselves permission to be here present, to be in tune with that which is the I am, that we might be an instrument that brings more love, more light, more inspiration, more joy, and more goodness into the world. That's what each of us is doing here. We are identifying ourselves as light workers, and we're sharing that light in the world wherever we can share it. That's our intention. So, what a week, right? It is really wild to read the newspapers and then to realize the difference between what is the true divine pattern and what we're doing with it, meaning we, the race, is doing with it. And what we know is the way that we change what the race is doing with it is by changing ourselves. So we look out this week. Here in this country, we had hurricanes. Internationally, we were involved in ending a war. We are having fires all over the nation, particularly in California, Northern California, and Oregon. Smoke is everywhere. So we could look around at the events in the world and say things are getting worse. But in truth, that's not what's happening. It would be very much like we would deal with our health. What we know is, people manifest colds and flus and this kind of thing, and temperatures and the like. And what we would say as healers, as an instrument through which more of the pattern of wholeness is being revealed, is that the pattern of wholeness has not been destroyed. It is temporarily blocked, and the way to change it is to unblock the pattern by opening ourselves up to that pattern of wholeness. So if we look at the bigger picture of the race, we'd be looking at the divine will for humanity and the divine will for planet Earth and all beings on planet Earth. And the divine will is for life and more life. And so that pattern is always there. And the potential to reveal that pattern in harmony is always there. And so what we work on in our own body is if something goes awry, something goes a little crooked, we work on taking care of ourselves, we work on centering ourselves, and then we work on refreshing our mind and reminding ourselves and drawing forth from the divine pattern of wholeness, which is the truth of my true and eternal nature. Everybody's true and eternal nature is the pattern of wholeness. What we're doing with our bodies and our experience right now is drawing into our lives whatever it is we need to become more fully realized in the glory of the I am that I am. Everybody's life is about that. Living the journey, living the experience to become more fully realized in the true nature of our eternal selves. And what we know is then we define that, we talk about our personal self and we talk about our high self, yes? Good morning from the Burbank area. Good morning from Arizona. Good morning from Palm Desert. Nice to have you all with us today. So it looks like Honolulu is the far country so far, but we don't know who else will be joining us. But we are got a lot of states represented already, and that's a wonderful thing. And so we remind you, the only thing we're doing with Coffee with Casper is teaching, reminding ourselves what we already know, becoming aware of that awareness that's within us, and bringing that awareness forth into the world for the benefit of ourselves, for the benefit of our families, our friends, our neighbors, the nations, and the world, yes? That we are all interrelated and interconnected. And as we've talked about many times here on Coffee with Casper, what's awakening in the world is a unity consciousness. There is not the great understanding on a massive level. I think I said there were 9 billion people on the planet. I asked Google and Siri, and they say there's about 8.5 billion people on the planet. So what we know is that large mass of souls are not aware of the unity of all life, that energy and matter are equal and interchangeable, meaning that if I am alive, I'm part of energy, and that if I'm having matter, I will always be alive because energy does not die, it changes form. So we are learning as human beings to address ourselves, to actually address ourselves as the eternal nature of ourselves. I am that I am, which is the eternal expression of the one in me, as me, through me, forever revealing to me my true and eternal nature, which is wholeness, harmony, love, peace, joy, wisdom, freedom, and the all good. And you could name those, you could keep naming all of the qualities of the all good. And that's the truth, and that's the truth about us. And we live in a field of infinite potential, meaning all of the spectrum from everything positive to everything negative is available. And it's up to you and I to decide that we are choosing to live in that which is the good, that which is the harmonious, that which is life-giving, life-enhancing, and brings forth more life. And that's a conscious choice that you are making, and I know you're making that choice, or you wouldn't be here with us this morning. You wouldn't be clicking into this all over the globe at whatever time you're clicking into it. What's happening if you're finding Coffee with Casper is you are one of the people who is aware of the reality of all life, is aware that we may be a work in progress in terms of bringing that pattern of wholeness and perfection into every area of our lives, meaning health, wealth, love, and purpose, creativity, being completely fulfilled at every level. We're working on that. It doesn't mean that's not our true nature. It means that from whatever it is our experience, whatever it is our learning journey is, because, what we could say is, you don't know how to ride a horse until you've ridden horses, right? And that's why we came into experience, because you cannot be good at something until you've actually done it, right? You could read all about horseback riding, and that would not help you. You might learn some tricks about how to get acquainted with horses and how to interrelate with a horse and how to work with a horse that's been trained to be ridden and how to become friends and family with that horse. That it's the experience of the horse that will allow you to understand what it is that horseback riding is all about. And this is true of just anything there is, any of your passions in the world. And look at all the passions people have. So many different ways of expressing their interests and their creativity, and each one forms a family. Boaters are related. They have a simpatico with each other. You see motorcycle riders always waving at each other on the motorcycles. We pick these areas of interest and specialty and connection, and then we connect with other people in that same vibration, right? But we came to have the experience because the only way you can really know something is having experience. You can know about something, but until you have the experience of it, you don't know it. And what I often tell people is it takes 6 months to learn to ride a horse. If you've never ridden horses and then you want to be comfortable in the saddle, it's going to take you about 6 months. And you can apply that to anything. If you become all of a sudden interested in dog shows, it's going to take you at least 6 months to get a deep understanding of dog shows. If you're interested in boats, it's going to take you at least 6 months. If you get a new job, it's going to take you 6 months to get comfortable in the saddle. And that's just the way the flow of life goes. You're not going to become an expert at something overnight. We become experienced in something and then we know it. And what we're learning to do is to become experienced at living in and as and with our true and eternal nature. So here, all of this stuff that's going on in the world is the invitation to us, as my friend Michael Beckwith has said many, many years ago and has said many times. When you read the newspaper, it's really just a prayer list. This is where the world needs our attention. The world needs our attention to be on peace. The world needs our attention to be on compassion. The world needs our attention to be on interconnectedness. The world needs our attention to bring more heart into the world and less egoic structures, less personal self and more high self. And the more we reach up in our daily prayers and meditations, the more we open ourselves to have infinite compassion. We've been evacuated here in Topanga because of the fires before. This is a dangerous fire area. We have tremendous compassion for people who are being evacuated, for the fear of loss that comes around fire. We have tremendous compassion for the water that's flooding New Orleans and New Orleans and Mississippi. And we have tremendous compassion for the people of Afghanistan and for ourselves. Because we engaged and kept the world going, but we did not create the objective. And we're learning. We as humanity are learning how to dig deeper into compassion, to tune in more completely to this I am presence, to listen more intently and to look for what used to be called the still small voice, because the still small voice is getting louder. And so the orbit, it's kind of like the orbit of all things, right? If it gets tilted, a little tilt on an orbit of anything will change everything that's happening within that environment, right? Goes from atoms and cells to planets to stars. It happens to everything that is circulating in this pattern of wholeness that's circulating up, spiraling up to bring more and more awareness. It's like a cone. The higher up we go, the wider the vista, the greater the understanding, and that's what you and I are working on, is getting the largest vista possible as human beings to bring out the divine brilliance within each of us, that we can each and all of us make our contribution to an awakening world. And that's what we're doing here on Coffee with Casper. We're remembering that I am, that it is okay for me to care, that it's okay for me to be flexible, because what we're learning through all of these events in the world, including the pandemic and moving on, what we're learning is the incredible capacity of human beings to adjust, to shift. And the big call upon us is to shift away from I get mine before you get yours, and shift into unity consciousness, knowing that mine is already there, and if I open to it, I shall receive it, and if I open to it and bless it and multiply it, others shall receive it. That's why there's no limit to the good. Good and more good is mine. And we're beginning, each of us here who watches Coffee with Casper, who pays attention to these divine ideas, not just mine. They're not mine. They belong to all people. And there are many, many awakening spiritual leaders on the planet who are becoming those leaders because they're in tune with that divine I am. That divine I am is bringing to us and through us the information we need, the connections we need, the willingness to let go of fear and to replace it with faith, which is an inside job. Each of us is doing that, yes? So this is our work. So we got somebody calling and said, hey, good morning from Sri Lanka. Nice to see you this morning. Isn't that wonderful? Yay, yay, yay. And so the world is waking up, and we're all here together practicing. How is it that I become more compassionate, that I begin to daily practice moving my energy into my heart center, meaning out of my head, spinning around with those endless thoughts. They repeat themselves over and over and over again. And we're learning. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was sharing in the morning that I woke up around 3 a couple nights ago, and when I woke up at 3, I sat up and began to meditate. And he said back to me, oh yeah, I woke up at 3, and I couldn't stop my brain from thinking. Right? So I don't let my brain do that. I feed it a mantra. I put the mantra right here. The mantra that I use is I am, and I just allow my conscious thought to repeat the mantra. When it wants to follow a thought, I just bring it back gently to the mantra, so that I can still the mind, so that I can hear clearly the voice of the I am, the voice of my high self, the voice of that which is directing my senses, my own soul, which is, while directing my senses, is gazing at the infinite possibilities for good and therefore the glory of that which is God all the time. Now, when we get into our deepest and most sacred space, right, we can feel that, and we open to it, and it brings peace to the cells of our body, and it causes us to be able to relax more completely when we move into that deep level of faith and trust in the universe, which is a deep level of faith and trust in the divine self, the I am that I am. And so you will notice, even in the midst, because what's happening in the world as these things unfold. Andy LaRusso from Florida, nice to see you. The great chef is with us this morning. The singing chef, you could Google the singing chef. This awakening is happening, and it's changing us to become more heart-centered, and in being more heart-centered, therefore living from a place that is not bouncing off of the fear and multiplying fear. We're bringing forth our creativity, we're bringing forth our joy, we're bringing forth our willingness to communicate levels of love, we're letting go of our judgments, because as we understand the law, according to the level I judge, that's the level I will be judged. So we're letting go of judgments, and we're returning to love and opening to find that which is the right path. You and I have the capacity through intuition to bring this good into our lives by stilling ourselves, listening to the still small voice, and then allowing ourselves to be guided by it and taking actions that match that. And that divine harmony coming from the center of our being will match your divine harmony, will match your neighbor's divine harmony, will match your friend's divine harmony. The more you're in touch with that intuition that is guiding, guarding, directing, protecting you, by stilling yourself from the spinning mind and putting more energy in heart, by opening yourself to compassion so that you can care and allow that caring to happen even in the presence of the tumultuous activity in the world. When we come from peace, we become that tone that is bringing forth a greater peace to those around us, to those who touch the arena of our experience. And the more we do that, the larger that experience gets, the larger the arena gets, and the more we're given the opportunity to practice being an avenue of light and love and joy and wisdom and peace and harmony in the world, because we're finding it between God and me. God and me. The I am that I am, beginning to line up all of the energy centers, all of the chakras, all of the beings with my true and eternal nature, which is the glory of God itself. And that's not only true about us as light workers, it's true about everybody, and they just don't know it yet. And so ours is to be an instrument, an avenue, an example of that power, of that presence, of that peace, of that poise and that grace, and to still ourselves so that we don't spin. And that means when we see that spinning into fear and doubt and worry and anxiety, we have to pause and come back to the remembering of who and what I am, centering ourselves and moving forward. You know, a lot of times people think they need a 10 or 20 minute nap. You need a few minutes just to separate yourself from the activity of the world, to find your center, and then bring that center back into your lives. You're watching Coffee with Casper. You are a light worker. We know that you're sharing this video at whatever networks you're connected to digitally, and you're going on YouTube and you're pushing likes and you're sending and you're multiplying, because the more we multiply this good, the more people get a deeper understanding of their nature, the more peace and poise and calm and goodness will be revealed in our lives and in the lives who touch the arena of our experience. It's been my honor and privilege to be with you in this day. And what we know is that this is your week to practice living from your heart center, shifting your awareness from that which is external to that which is true, and then bringing that truth through us into our daily, regular lives. And in this way, we are making a huge contribution to the human condition, and we are advancing the awakening world, a world that works for everyone. It's my honor and privilege to be with you this morning. We'll be back again next week on Coffee with Casper. And until we meet again, we invite you to go in the light, as the light and with the light. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Casper, come up and say goodbye. Come on. Say goodbye. Come on up. Attaboy. We'll see you next week on Coffee with Casper. Bye for now.